I'm just feeling myself on this particular dress. I'm not even going to lie, no capping. I'm feeling myself, like I feel like I'm on top of the world. Talk about elegance, talk about class, talk about rich auntie vibes. Everything good, everything classic comes with this dress. To be sincere with you guys, I love this dress. I love how I look with this dress. I love the class, I love the elegance, I love everything that has to do with this dress. I'm not even going to lie. Initially, I thought I was going to make this dress and give it out because I already have two of it, the long and the short. But eventually, when I finished making this dress and I put it on, I'm like, nada, this is going nowhere. I keep this myself, okay? So with that being said, guys, you're welcome to yet another tutorial video. If you're new here, you are most welcome. My name is Chinyere Chichi for short. And if you're a 10 subscriber, thanks for always coming back. So guys, I think I would say that this particular tutorial is a highly requested one because by the time I posted this style on my community, I had about 4 to 5 people that requested for the tutorial, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. But I'm sorry I delayed a bit. That was because I was hoping that okay, I would have a client that would request for the style anytime soon. But unfortunately, I didn't have that coming. So I'm like, okay, instead of just keeping you guys waiting, let me make another for myself. I'll best give it out. That was why I said that I'm not giving this to anyone, because initially I was like, I would make a third one and then give it out because I can't have 3 of the same style at the same time, okay? And in the process of making this dress, I'm like, let me just give it a twist because I have the long, I have the short. Let me just, even though I'm going to give it out, let me just try out something, you know, creative with the dress. And eventually, guys, by the time I was done, I'm like, this is going nowhere. Like, this is all mine, okay? And as you can see, like, as far as I'm concerned, I think I prefer this one to the other two. I don't know, just drop your thoughts about which of them you prefer in the comment section, okay? So guys, without further ado, guys, please give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't done so, drop your thoughts in the comment section, and then let's dive right into the tutorial. The very first thing to do is to place your fabric on a triangular fold like so. Can you see, just as if you want to cut on a flared? So you place that on fold triangular like this, and then from the bottom part you measure the length of the dress, okay? So for the length, it depends on the length you want. You measure the length, and for this I'm using the length of 45 inches. So this is the 45 inches mark. So once I've gotten the length that I want up to this point, the next thing, I take the tape rule and then I come to this upper part of the fold, that's this pointed area, and then I place it at that 45 inches, and then at that point, with my tape rule fixed at the upper part, I measure round at that 45 inches mark all the way. You know exactly how you go about your flare cutting. That's exactly how you know, mark out what I am doing. Then I come back to this part then to measure that 45 inches length for the dress all the way. That's from this upper part. So I'm measuring at this point, I'm measuring the length of the dress all the way from one end to the other. After which I just go ahead and cut out what I measured at the upper and then at the lower part like so. So as you can see, we have like a flare cut for this particular one. So I cut out that, and then I have this cut out to work with. So this is what I'm going to be cutting the dress on. And then at the upper part, just make sure that it is, you know, soft, it is wide enough to accommodate the upper part of the body, okay? For this one, I have about 14 inches, which is okay for a moderate to a bit bigger size, bigger person. So this is okay for me. And then for the neckline, I'm going to be using 2.5 inches for the width, and then also I'm going to be using 2.5 inches for the depth of the neckline. This is for the front, okay? The back is not going to be as deep as this. So I cut that out, and then I'm going to be measuring the shoulder. And for the shoulder, you divide the shoulder by 2 plus 1.5 inches, okay? Unlike a normal 1 inch that I also added about 1.5 because of the freeness. And then at this point, I'm going to be coming down. At that shoulder point, I come down by 2 inches. Just take note of all the inches I'm using. I come down by 2 inches, and then I form my shoulder slant at that point. And then from this upper part, I'm going to be coming down by about 10 to 11 inches. Okay, so that's where this curve is going to terminate. So from that shoulder slant, I curve up to that 11 inches, and then I'm going to be cutting along that part. Please, as a beginner, I would suggest you do not use a silky fabric for the first time. Please use a more stable, a more firm fabric. So I cut out that part and I cut out the neckline. And then for the opening, I'm going to be opening like about 3 to 4 inches downwards like so. So with this, I am okay. Okay, so I open it up, and this is what it looks like. This is for the front, so we have that. So I'm going to be using this to cut the back, okay? And I'm not sure I'm going to be showing that because of the stress in cutting this fabric. But for the neckline of the back, I'm going to be using 2 inches for the neckline, and then there's not going to be this opening at the back. Of course, you know that. So that's just the difference between the front and the back. So I'm going to cut the back now. So at this point, I've cut the back, and as you can see, I have the neckline of the back higher than the front, and there is no opening. So at this point, I just place the back on the front, and then we are ready for stitching. So I'm going to be stitching at this side, okay? And for the stitching before the opening, from the neckline, you measure 11 inches or 12, depending on the size of the person. So it is 11 inches from the neckline up to this point, okay? Then and the opening, I have about the opening I left about 9 inches, and then I continue stitching all the way down, okay? So that's it. I lost the clip where I have that covered, so please pardon me. And then for the opening, you either turn with a bias or you fold the fabric itself carefully like so. So for me, I'm going to be folding the fabric like so. I'm not going to be using a bias. And please don't forget to weave the inner part of the dress. So coming back to the neckline area, as you can see, you have to first of all tape this opening either with a bias or you cut the fabric on a bias and then tape before you fix the collar. So to cut on bias, this is just me cutting the piece I'm going to be using to tape, the opening at the center front. So I'm going to be using this to tape just the opening, just like so, not the neckline area, okay? So just take note of that. It is the bishop collar that you're going to be using to do that. So at this point, you can see I have that taped and I'm ironing the fabric out. So after all that, the next thing to do is to place the bishop collar. That's to fix the collar on it. And the collar for this is a bishop collar. So for the bishop collar, I just have the fabric placed on fold, and then I measure the length of the neckline, the total, that's the width of the neckline. So the total of the neckline gave me about 15 inches, okay? So this is because I want it like to be firm on the neck. If not, you can use 16 if you want it a little bit free. So and then I place the fabric on fold again because I want to cut the two pieces of the neckline at once. So I measure the length of the neckline plus half an inch, that's 16 inches. That's it on fold, as you can see. So at this point, I come up by 1.5 inch and I have that marked out, and at this point I'm going to be covering it back to the base of the neckline of the collar, and then at this center area I come up by 2 inches, and then from that curve line I measure 2 inches all the way up to this particular point, not all the way to the end. So you can see where the 2 inches stopped, and I started the 2 inches from the other end, and then I'm going to be covering from this side to meet the 2 inches at this point. So at this point we have our bishop collar uh, marked out, and I'm cutting, as you can see. So this is what the bishop collar looks like, okay? So I cut the two at once. That's why I placed it the way you saw. So I'm just going to be opening this, and then the next thing I'm going to be putting an interfacing to it so that it will give it the firmness that it should have, because as you can see the fabric is very light. So even if it's not light, as far as the color is concerned, you need an interfacing to give it that firmness, okay? So I place the interfacing on it and then cut that out. After cutting that out, what I have next to do is just to stitch the collar together like so. So I place it over each other, and then I'm going to be stitching using half an inch all the way like so. So after that, this is what it looks like. I give it a good press so that it can lay flat, and then I'm going to be trimming off the excesses I have at both tips. So after that, I think our collar is ready to be fixed on our dress. So I get back the dress, and then I get the collar, and it's time for me to fix the collar on the dress. And this is how you go about your collar. You just get one part of the collar and then you stitch round, and before you top stitch with the other part of the collar. And finally, this is what it looks like. And for the sleeve opening, this is what I did. Like I said, I didn't tape it with a bias. I stitched it with the fabric, and then this is what the collar looks like. So for the opening at the chest, upper chest area, you just use like a bra hook to hold it down. So this is the end of our trendy classy bubu dress, okay, with the sleeve opening. So this is what it looks like. And finally, this is what the outcome looks like. I love the gorgeousness of this dress, I'm not even going to lie. So just tell me which of them you prefer, the long or the short one. But for me, I think I'll stick with this for now. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, and see you in my next one. Please hit the subscribe button and like. Bye.